Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, indeed. I think we are calling for both, food and non-food humanitarian relief supplies as well as fuel for both operations, for the restart of bakeries, kitchens, hospitals, etc. So it does include that, and certainly, as I said, we have not gotten the authorization, the permission to move in the volumes that we've requested.
Absolutely. Just to complement this, I understand that OCHA has recently, that was yesterday, reports that modest quantities of food entered Gaza last week. And obviously, as Ross said, fuel must be allowed in consistently and at the volume needed to keep aid operation running, including operating the trucks to collect and distribute the cargo. Satako, your hand is still up. Do you have a follow-up? BBC is gone, so let's go to Imogen Fuchs, BBC.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. We heard President Trump say yesterday in Scotland that the US was going to set up food distribution centres in Gaza. Have you had any information about what that might be, or have they been in touch with you? Or are you able to say to the US, actually, the UN is there, we're experienced, we can do it?
Yeah, we're aware of these comments, and of course we're talking to all parties involved. But as you've indicated, I think our view is that we definitely have the capacity and the expertise, and of course the proven experience during the past ceasefire to reach people as needed in Gaza. So we don't need a new system. We just need to be able to be allowed to work and to be able to reach people where they are. During the last ceasefire, WP alone was bringing in more than 200 trucks per day, operating in more than 400 distribution sites. And we know that we need a broad coverage. We need to reach people where they are because many people are trapped in different locations. There are many vulnerabilities where they can't move. We need to restart bakeries and kitchens so they can have access to these sort of regular meals, as well as other nutrition support and other support. So just, I think we don't need a new system. We just need to be able to allow it to work. And we need to go beyond the rhetoric and beyond the words, and to see sustained action on the ground. And that's what we're calling for at this time.
Thank you very much. Olivia Lepotvin, Reuters.
Hi, all. Thank you. Just my first question is this alert that we've had today from the IPC. What is it actually going to change materially? I can hear you are extremely concerned. But I mean, is your hope that this is going to put immediate action on governments to actually respond to your calls? Because I'm conscious this crisis has been unfolding for months, and we have heard very similar and stark warnings from all agencies, both here on the call and beyond. I also have a question for the World Food Programme, but also other agencies, if they may. Could you just outline what you have actually been able to get in since Sunday? I understand yesterday that the World Food Programme got about 60 trucks in, which is short of the 100 truck target. Are we seeing the same picture today, and why are you not able to get as many trucks in as you would like? Thank you.
Ross or Jean-Martin?
Yeah, I'll let Jean-Martin take the first one. I can happy to talk about the second.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Look, these alerts are vital. This is the system that's used to ascertain what the situation is like on the ground. For a very long time, the IPC alerts and the IPC analyses that we've had have expressed a very high level of concern about the food security and the nutrition situation in Gaza. This is not the first time that we've expressed our concern. The last alert was about a risk of famine in all parts of Gaza. About a year ago, there was also a statement about how bad the situation is. To tell you that the indicators have reached a level that we haven't seen yet, that we haven't seen before. And this is meant to catalyze action. What we're hoping to do is keep Gaza on the agenda to ensure that there is evidence for the advocacy that is taking place in humanitarian circles, and ensure that Gazans receive the support that they require. It's important to bring evidence, and to add to what Ross was explaining earlier. The data that we have on Gaza shows that when there is access, that when the trucks do come in, that when the humanitarians are able to carry out distributions, these food security indicators improve dramatically. And what we need is a chance to be able to do the work that we're mandated to do. Perhaps over to Ross for the second part of the question.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Olivia, for the question. Just to say, we're getting about approximately 50% of what we're requesting into Gaza since these humanitarian pauses started on Sunday. And I outlined earlier some of the challenges we continue to experience.
Thank you very much. Oh, yes, Robin, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple more questions. In terms of getting stuff into the Gaza Strip since this change happened on Sunday, what has actually changed in terms of permissions and restrictions and that sort of thing? And secondly, on airdrops, some countries have been performing airdrops of aid over the Gaza Strip. Can you speak about how useful they are compared to getting the full sort of humanitarian convoys that you're used to getting in? Thank you.
Yeah, on the airdrops, I don't know if you want to say something or I have an answer for that. Maybe I'll start with that, then I'll give you the floor. What we can say is that, of course, we have seen that airdrops have resumed 2 days ago in Gaza, while the UN welcomed all efforts to provide aid to people who desperately need it. UN agencies and partners reminds that airdrops are the last resort measure and carry risk for people on the ground. Injuries were reported 2 days ago when packages fell on tents. That is what I had on the airdrops, but maybe Ross and Jean-Martin have got more.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. Just to emphasize what you indicated on airdrops. I mean, certainly we have extensive experience in other operational contexts on airdrops, and it really is a last resort where there are no other logistics or transport options. In addition to being, far too expensive and inefficient, it just is not a practical solution in this context. It carries extreme risk for populations that are in a very dense population base in different parts of Gaza. And we've seen some of those reports of injuries already. So while I appreciate the symbolic nature of it, it is not a practical solution. And we do have that practical solution waiting, ready at the borders of Gaza, at the crossing points, and ready to move. Your first question on what has changed, I mean, I think we appreciate and we welcome these humanitarian pauses, and we would like to see the full spirit of them implemented all along, right down to the distribution point, so that we can move quickly and effectively. Until those different delays and approvals, clearances, the interaction with armed forces and civilians on the ground, until that is improved, we're not going to see sufficient enough change to turn the dial on the humanitarian situation inside Gaza.
I have two follow-ups from Gabriela and Olivia, and then we will go to the next item. Gabriela.
Thank you very much, Alessandra. So just to clarify, I would like to know how many convoys are needed daily to ensure that Palestinians have food and drinking water on a sustained basis. So this is not like a handout. So a week of humanitarian aid won't resolve the situation. So to prevent children from dying from hunger, women, what do you need every day in a sustained way?
Ross?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, let me just say the one key figure that is important is, in pre-conflict, we had at least 500 trucks a day moving into Gaza with commercial supplies. And this is what was required to sustain the population, the needs of the population inside Gaza. So we are asking for right now for WFP alone for 100 trucks per day. And that is a very bare minimum of food and nutrition support, but other agencies also have additional requirements on top of that. During the ceasefire earlier this year, we had more than 200 trucks a day alone of WFP supplies and up to 400 per day, including all partners. So that's really what we're looking at, the volume that we're looking at in order to be able to meet the needs of people on the ground. And so if we're at 50% of 100 trucks a day now, we're far, far away from where we need to be. Thank you.
Olivia?
Thank you so much for coming back to me, and I do really appreciate the granular detail you're able to give us. I did just want to double check. You gave that very helpful detail, Ross, that only about 50% of what you're requesting is getting into Gaza since the humanitarian pauses started on Sunday. So is that around then, so far kind of about 50, averaging about 50 trucks getting in? That's kind of part one of the question. And then I just wanted to check in with you in terms of if levels do stay like this and you're only able to get about half in of what you're hoping for, what does that mean in real terms for trying to tackle now what is famine-like conditions? Does this mean that your plans to reopen bakeries and provide hot meals for people via community kitchens, which I know you've said is vital, does that mean those plans might not be able to go ahead this week, given that you're only getting half the amount in? Thank you.
Thanks for the follow-up, Olivia. Indeed, that's what it means. I mean, we're not going to be able to address the needs of the population or the severity of the situation unless we can move in the volume that we need of humanitarian supplies. I think it's a very simple equation. And so if we're only able to move in half of that or we're not meeting what's required, the metric of success here is not the number of trucks. The metric of success is, are we able to alleviate the situation on the ground? Are we able to turn the dial on the state of severe acute malnutrition? Are we able to provide the food basket and to meet the needs of vulnerable households there? My colleague at the podium there talking about the needs of women and children. Are we able to address the situation? That's the metric of success. It's not the number of trucks, although that is an important part of the process. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Olivia, Gorky has been patiently waiting, so if you don't mind, I give Gorky the floor first. Gorky, vous avez la parole, mais il faut enlever il faut unmute.
Allô, bonjour.
Voilà, on vous entend.
Merci beaucoup, Alessandra, et porte-parole qui nous briefe. J'ai deux questions. La première, ce sera à vous, Alessandra, pour envoyer à New York. Est-ce que, à partir de ce que nous sommes en train de vivre aujourd'hui, nous avons même dépassé le stade de génocide et d'affamer des gens, où un État a atteint le stade ultime de l'inhumanité? Ma question est de savoir...
Gorky, on vous entend vraiment, vraiment super mal. Et en plus, comme vous parlez français, et je pense que ça va être compliqué pour nos invités, est-ce que ça vous embêterait d'écrire vos questions dans les chats? Et puis moi, je vais les lire, s'il vous plaît, parce qu'on vous entend trop mal.
Can you hear me right now?
Essayez encore.
Can you hear me?
Essayez allez-y. Maybe we can hear you better now. Try. Give it a try.
Okay. My question is there any means for the United Nations to withdraw a country which has reached the top of humanity to withdraw the membership?
Gorky, ça vient trop broken. Je suis désolée, mais on peut pas comprendre ce que vous dites. Envoyez-moi les questions par écrit, s'il vous plaît, je vais les lire. Je suis désolée, mais au début c'est bon, et puis après les mots sont saccadés. Je m'excuse, mais on n'entend pas. Olivia, you had another follow-up, and then we'll go to the next speaker.
Thank you so much. And I do apologise for my third question. I just did want to clarify the question on whether community kitchens and bakeries can still open as planned, or whether that might be delayed given the lack of aid getting in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olivia. We don't yet have sufficient stocks nor permission to open those bakeries and kitchens, and we are asking for that.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. So I'd like to, do you want to add anything, Sophia, before we close the subject? Your mic.
Thank you, Alessandra. Now, just to say that we are working closely with partners as the WFP to address the specific needs of women and girls, and to reiterate that they are bearing the brunt of the conflict and the food crisis. So everything we can do jointly to address and alleviate their suffering is, of course, of extreme urgency. Thank you, Alessandra.
Thank you, Sophia, and thanks to Ross and to Jean-Martin to brief for the briefing to the Geneva Press Corps, and hopefully you can come back and update us on the situation in the next days. Thanks, and thanks, Sophia. Let me now go with UNEP to the next item on our list. I'd like to welcome Jyoti Mathur-Philip, who is the Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee on Plastic Pollution and head of the Secretariat. Jyoti is coming to us from Nairobi, and I'd like to welcome her and thank her for her patience, because we had, unfortunately, to change the agenda. And she's here to tell us about the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee process and structure. As you know, the committee is meeting in Geneva from the 5th of August for 2 weeks. And so Jyoti is going to give you a little bit more information on this very important meeting that we are very happy to host at the Palais. Jyoti, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon from Nairobi, everyone. And of course, for those joining us from other parts of the world, good morning and good evening. Today, I wish to provide you with background on the INC process, highlight a few key milestones, and then outline the structure of the second part of the 5th session, INC 5.2 for short, which will be held from Tuesday, 5th of August, through Thursday, 14th of August at the Palais des Nations, as Alessandra just said. We are at this moment because in 2022, at the UN Environment Assembly, member states adopted a resolution called 514, which convened the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee to develop an international legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, including in the marine environment. The resolution's mandate calls for a comprehensive approach that addresses the life cycle of plastic, including its production, design, and disposal. Pursuant to the resolution, the INC began its work in 2022, and it has been a very busy time since then. 5 negotiation sessions have already taken place. The first INC1 took place in Uruguay in November 2022. 2 more followed in 2023 in France and Kenya. In April 2024, we convened again in Canada. And most recently, INC 5.1, the first part of the 5th session, was held in Busan, Republic of Korea, at the end of last year. At the end of INC 5.1, the committee adjourned and agreed to resume for a second session for the second part, INC 5.2, now before us, under the leadership of the chair of the committee, Ambassador Luis Valles Valdivieso of Ecuador. Before adjourning, the committee also agreed that the chair's text, which was released on 1st of December and available on the INC website, would serve as the starting point for negotiations. In the lead up to INC 5.2, the chair of the INC has convened informal in-person and online heads of delegation meetings, which provided important opportunities for members to engage ahead of the resumed session. Also, the INC Secretariat facilitated opportunities for the members to conduct informal discussions to advance consultations with a series of regional consultations held in June and July across all UN regions. The last of these consultations will be by the Group of Eastern European States on 3rd of August in Geneva. We are all aware of the severity of the plastic pollution crisis. In 2024 alone, humanity was projected to consume over 500 million tons of plastic in 2024 alone. Of this, 399 million tons will become waste. Plastic leakage into the environment is predicted to grow 50% by 2040. The cost of damages from plastic pollution could rise as high as a cumulative $281 trillion between 2016 and 2040, and health risks from plastic pollution are becoming clearer, especially due to microplastics. It is easy to do the math. We are facing an environmental crisis, and urgent action is needed now, with a treaty fit for purpose matching the scale of the problem. And this is not just an environmental crisis, it is a crisis for communities, economies, and future generations, and it spans across multiple sectors. As we look ahead to INC 5.2, this is a member-led process, with the committee consisting of all UN members, plus members of UN specialized agencies. Their delegations will convene on Tuesday, 5th August, alongside participants from accredited observer organizations for the opening plenary at 10 a.m. in the Assembly Hall, chaired by the chair of the committee. Meanwhile, the work will have already begun at the Palais before Tuesday, the 5th. Regional consultations will take place on Monday, the 4th, as will an in-person conversation with observers, where I will join the UN Environment Programme Executive Director, Ms. Inger Anderson, and the INC Chair, Ambassador Luis Valles Valdivieso. This conversation with representatives from observer organizations will be recorded and available on the INC website soon after your viewing. In addition, the session's host country, Switzerland, will host a multi-stakeholder forum on Tuesday in the afternoon, on Monday in the afternoon on the same venue on 4th of August. We are expecting our highest level of participation at this resumed session, with approved registrations from over 1,400 delegates, representing 179 members of the committee and more than 1,900 participants from 600 observer organizations, including NGOs, IGOs, and UN entities. The expectation for this INC 5.2 is to conclude negotiations and approve the text of the instrument. If you have not done so already, I encourage you to review the chair's INC 5.2 scenario note on the website, which outlines the organization of work, procedural arrangements, and approach for the committee to optimize the precious 10 days available for finalizing and approving the text of the instrument. The negotiation work of the committee will take place in closed contact groups throughout the week, alongside the regular plenary sessions, which is the committee's formal decision-making body. All plenary sessions will be live streamed on UN Web TV, and the session's live daily schedule will be available on the INC website and through an app. Most importantly, a key document that should be on your radar if it isn't already, is the chair's text, as mentioned earlier. This text is a 22-page document with 32 draft articles that provides a structure for shaping the future instrument and will serve as a starting point for negotiations at this session. It builds on all the work that took place over the previous sessions of the INC, with the understanding that as the negotiations continue, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. I would like to end by saying, when the ink is dry and the gavel goes down, the work will only have just begun. Words need to be turned into action, and we will all need to turn our attention to the treaty's implementation. Thank you for your time, and please send any follow-up questions to the UNEP News Desk via the INC website. I turn back to you, Ms. Fillucci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Matu-Philip, for this briefing. It was important to give this information to the journalists today because, as people here know, Friday there is an official holiday in Switzerland. Palais will be closed, so we won't have a briefing, and that's why I thank you very much for being with us today. And as you said, please ask any other question either through the website indicated by Mrs. Matu-Philip or through Eunice. We are in constant contact with the communication lead of the Secretariat. And of course, as you have also heard, there will be a lot of people at the Palais des Nations during these 2 weeks. Journalists, of course, are also welcome, but there will be a number of details on the logistics of your participation, so don't hesitate to ask us. So I'll open the floor to questions now. First in the room, Christian Ulrich is our correspondent of the German news agency.
Yes, hello. I reached out yesterday to the media email address, but I did not get an answer. So I wonder whether it's not live yet. And could you please share the notes? This is the Lisa Schlein question that I would like to deposit here. Can you please share the notes that you read from? Thank you.
Mrs. Matu-Philip, yeah, I see you nodding, and we will help you with sharing the notes to the journalists in Geneva if needed.
May I also we will
yes,
have
please go ahead.
We will have a media advisory also out this week. And of course, all the notes will be shared. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, the notes, if it's possible, I'm saying this for your colleague, Jyoti, if the notes could go out as soon as possible so that the journalists have it today after your briefing. And then when the media advisory come, of course, that will also be much welcome. Is there any other question for UNEP? I don't see any, but I'm sure there will be many when the conference will start. But before we leave the issue of plastic, we also have an announcement from Catherine Rissou for UNCTAD on the publication of a plastic pollution report, right?
Thank you, Alessandra. My briefing will be in French. My notes will be shared in English. Je vais ajouter quelques chiffres sur l'économie et le développement autour des plastiques. Donc, avant l'ouverture des négociations qui viennent d'être présentées, la CNUSED va publier une mise à jour du commerce mondial, le Global Trade Update, spécifiquement sur le commerce des plastiques. Si les plastiques ont contribué à dynamiser l'économie mondiale, aujourd'hui, le risque est élevé qu'ils freinent la croissance de nombreux pays en développement. Quelques chiffres pour avoir une idée de l'ampleur. L'an dernier, le monde a échangé pour 1100 milliards de dollars de produits plastiques. C'est environ 5% du total des marchandises qui ont été échangées dans le monde. Et 3/4 de tout le plastique jamais produit sur la planète sont aujourd'hui des déchets, dont une grande partie s'échoue sur les côtes des petits États insulaires en développement et États côtiers, les plages qui font rêver les touristes et ces pays qui manquent de moyens pour les gérer. Pourquoi c'est crucial de gérer cette question pour les pays en développement? Ils entraînent bien sûr un coût environnemental. Je ne reviens pas sur les détails. Un coût économique. Et puis, bien sûr, un coût social avec les dépenses de dépollution et de siphonnement des fonds publics qui sont déjà limités pour l'éducation, la santé ou la construction d'infrastructures. Mais il y a de bonnes nouvelles. Le plastique n'est plus fantastique, mais le document que nous allons publier montre que le marché mondial des substituts au plastique pèse aujourd'hui 485 milliards de dollars annuels et croît de 5,6% par an dans les économies en développement. Il y a donc là un véritable levier pour, avec de bonnes politiques commerciales, permettre à ces pays d'intégrer des nouvelles chaînes de valeur, de transformer des résidus agricoles, par exemple, en emballage compostable, mais il y a beaucoup d'autres produits concernés par l'usage des ressources naturelles pour remplacer le plastique. Plusieurs options politiques sont décrites dans le document, comme réaligner les tarifs. Les tarifs appliqués au plastique sont inférieurs aux tarifs appliqués aux substituts du plastique, par exemple. L'investissement dans les infrastructures circulaires, il s'agit de collecter, recycler, réparer, et il faut trouver des fonds pour cela. Exploiter les outils numériques également pour permettre de tracer les produits, aider les douanes et les petites entreprises à respecter les normes de durabilité à des coûts moindres et bien sûr créer des disciplines commerciales avec ce futur traité mondial sur les plastiques en cohérence avec les règles de l'OMC, la Convention de Bâle et les accords climatiques. Le message de ce nouveau document qui sera publié demain, peut-être en fin de journée, mais en tout cas d'ici demain, le message est simple. Le commerce doit faire partie de la solution et non être la source du problème. Il va falloir donc réorienter les incitations et il est possible d'ouvrir de nouveaux marchés, de créer des emplois, de créer de la valeur, de protéger la planète et en particulier dans les pays qui ont le moins contribué à la pollution plastique, mais qui en supportent le plus lourd fardeau. Voilà, c'est un document qui est assez court. Le Global Trade Update ne fait pas 100 pages, donc il vous sera communiqué dès que terminé, ce qui ne saurait tarder. Et bien sûr, nous sommes à votre disposition pour en détailler les recommandations. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Catherine. Ça sera une bonne introduction à la négociation qui va commencer à Genève en début du mois d'août. Et pour ceux qui ne sont pas connectés et qui sont dans la salle, les Media Queries email address for the negotiating committee is unep-inkplastic.media@un.org. We will send it to you. There will be also the indication in the media advisory. And now, thank you very much, Catherine. We come to our last, but definitely not least speaker, who's Claire Nulis for WMO. And I'll ask Rolando to replace me on the podium as I have to rush to another meeting. Claire, welcome. You're also, of course, speaking about weather and climate extremes. It's not plastic, but it sort of, it all relates to it. So I'll give you the floor and let Rolando take my place on the podium. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks, Alessandra. Yes, it all relates to the environment and our wonderful planet. Yes, good morning, everybody. Just to say, the World Meteorological Organization will announce a new world record for the longest lightning flash. We will do this on Thursday, the 31st of July. We've sent out the embargoed press release. It is available in all languages, so if you do need it in one of the other languages and you haven't received it, please just let me know. And in addition, if you need embargoed interviews, please contact me. I can set them up. And we only received it after we sent out the press release, but we've just received some really, really great visuals from one of the experts who was involved in establishing this new world record. It's got satellite imagery and other really good visual content. So again, please, if you need that, just send me a quick email and I will send it to you. The world record, which we will be announcing, it was established by a team of experts from the WMO Archive of Weather and Climate Extremes. This maintains official records of world hemispheric and regional extremes on things like temperature, pressure, rainfall, hail, wind, and lightning, as well as tropical cyclones. Of all the things that we do at WMO, I probably get the most questions on weather and climate extremes and on world records. So we do expect, that this new announcement will see quite a lot of media interest on Thursday. As we know from looking out of our windows, lightning is a source of wonder, but it's also a major hazard which claims many lives around the world. So the new findings, and one of the reasons that we do track, lightning extremes, is to highlight important public safety concerns about electrified clouds, which can produce flashes which travel incredible distances and have a big impact on public safety, the aviation sector, and as we unfortunately see too often, they can spark wildfires. That's all from me. As I said, if you need, we're not having a press conference because our main rapporteur, he's actually based at the University of Arizona. But as I said, I'm more than happy to set up interviews for you. Thank you.
Thanks to you, Claire. Hello, and thanks again very much for that very comprehensive brief. We do have a question for you from Antonio of EFE. Antonio.
Thank you, Rolando. I read the press release. It's an amazing record, but I wonder if the ray touched the land and if it did have an effect on the land, if it touched it. If not, I wonder, these extremely long rays are more powerful and can be more dangerous than the normal rays. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is all sort of embargo, so I don't want to say too much in case of breaking the embargo. Antonio, I'll deal with it with you offline. I'd rather that, and I can set up a quick call, with our expert. But just in general, I mean, when we issue, new records for instance, heat extremes, this is quite often, the case that there is actually a new record been set because it's got warmer. In the case of lightning, it's not necessarily because we are seeing longer lightning flashes than in the past. It's because, satellite imagery is allowing us to see them and to measure them much better. But for your other questions, I can answer them offline.
Well noted. Thank you very much, Claire. I'm certainly interested in this report coming out Thursday, so thanks very much for the heads up. I think that does it for questions, unless there's a last look in the room. Online, nothing here. So thanks once again, Claire, and good luck with that launch this coming Thursday. Colleagues, I have the easiest job because I have no announcements. I just came here momentarily to say hello, and I think the briefing's over. So see you here Tuesday, this coming Friday. Once again, the 1st of August, it's a national holiday, so we won't have the briefing. I would like to thank all our briefers once again, and thanks to you for your attention, and see you here on Tuesday. And good luck with covering these upcoming conferences this week and next. Bye-bye.